Now we've talked generally about the OSI model, let's go ahead and talk about the specific layers of the OSI model. First, I'd like to talk about layer 1, or the physical layer of the OSI model. The physical layer of the OSI model is the bottom layer, and is concerned with the physical transmission of raw data across a network. This data is transmitted in the form of ones and zeros, otherwise known as digital transmission. In order to define the digital transmission, the physical layer also has to define the encoding method used to transmit the ones and zeros. In order to define the method to encode the ones and zeros, the physical layer has to also define how the bits are placed on the media, and it defines different ways to place bits on different media depending on the type of media being used. Finally, the physical layer, when it comes to defining how data is encoded onto the media, also has to define how bits start and stop. Otherwise, you'll not have a clear distinction between each bit that's transmitted across the physical medium. Beyond defining how data is encoded onto a physical medium, the physical layer also defines specifications that relate to the media that's being used. When the physical layer defines the media being used, it's basically saying what kinds of media are permitted for different devices and what kinds of media are not permitted. Beyond defining the types of media that are permitted, the physical layer also defines how the physical connections are made with those media. This is done by defining pin usage and other types of specification that apply to the physical media that's being used. Defining pin usage would apply to copper type media, but if you're using wireless type media, then the physical layer would define how the waves are modulated or the frequency of the waves that are allowed to be used. So these are the kind of things that the physical layer defines when it's putting specifications on the media usage that the physical layer is using. One thing to keep in mind, when the physical layer specifies a standard, that standard only applies to a very specific type of media. Different types of media, even different types of copper media, are going to have different standards that are specified by the physical layer.